everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
Dragon, the Dragon Ball Z. The theme song was stuck in my head all day. I don't know why, but like it just I woke up and it was like Dragon Ball Z. Like for some reason that stupid little and that guitar riff was in my head all day today. So yeah, here it was.
I saw a thing where this is kind of going slightly on, but completely off. I saw they put up a 4K test thing, like Elgato put up a 4K test recording to show everybody what it looks like to record on their software at 4K for that game. It looked fucking beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, this game has been pretty hype for people. I've been hearing a lot about it at work with people trying to get it.
I've seen a lot on it too.
Yeah, it's to my knowledge just a fighter though, right? Like I mean, there's not like anything beyond it's just a fighter, but or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's way more in depth than just a standard fighter game. But
wouldn't know.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah. I can tell we're all really big into fighting games in this group.
Yeah.
Massive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I tried
Favorite
Xenoblade
genre.
2 because it was free. Yeah, I basically made it to the first fight and I was like, nope, fuck this.
See, I would go through and play them more. I very much enjoy playing them. I do not enjoy spending $60 to play one.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's the biggest thing. I was like, if there was some way I could get it down to where it was worth about $20 to $30, I would probably do it on new releases because I'd want to actually do it when other people would be playing it too. But
sure,
I don't want to go into it 3 years late and then try and do so, because I'd want to do some online matchmaking just to kind of see, hey, where am I at? Am I even somewhat near? And then realize I'm like in fight games, I would be shit tier. You know how I was talking about other games that I play when I play in competitively, I'm like top 15 to top 25%.
Yep.
It would be the complete inverse. It would be the other way around.
So speaking of things that I saw at work, that game was one of them. So one of the things I do on Mondays, I gotta find a way to say this that's allowed. I spend a lot of time with money. I'll put it that way. And
Michelle's rich.
Oh my god.
Naturally, like, you know, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but like money's really gross. Like in general, like money's just disgusting.
Yes.
And then I came across this little gem that I'm gonna send now in the group chat.
Okay.
If it's gonna send. It's uploading now. So $5 bill.
Huh.
And it had Raph's Coochie coin written on it.
Oh my god.
And I was sitting there like staring at it and I'm like, I wonder if he either A, accidentally spent it, or B, the person he gave it to used it. So the first thing I did, of course, was reached over, grabbed a bottle of hand sanitizer and like scrubbed the shit out of my hands and arms. And I just sat there for like a few minutes just staring at this $5 bill, debating if I wanted to send it to the bank as mutilated or just keep it in circulation so other people could laugh at it.
Circulation.
I ultimately
Circulation is the answer. Yeah.
But I was just in complete disbelief. I mean, people deface money all the time, and I've seen just random things. Like, usually it's just people's names or something. Like, you know, like Billy was here, and it's like, okay. But yeah, so I was just, and then I wanted to go through and like show all my bosses, and I was like, I don't know if that's really a good idea to like start talking about it, because I thought that might be a little, you know, awkward.
That might be an awkward conversation to be like, hey, you know how I was dealing with money for a second here. I don't know where this one was and I touched it. Can I go to the hospital? Like, that's about the only way you could really go into it.
And oddly enough, I know that normally I'm the germaphobe of the group, but for some reason, money, I don't think about it as being dirty normally.
Have you ever
Money is
handled
gross.
of
I know
money?
Yeah.
Have you ever handled like lots of money at a time, like what Michelle's talking about?
Probably not like that, because I don't think I've ever had that kind of cash.
It is disgusting.
I don't have Michelle levels of money, guys. I'm just saying.
I've done that. I've done that in jobs, and like I've actually done it like at churches, like collecting. You know, they collect money, and like I've gone through money and checks and everything, and it's disgusting.
It really is.
It's just disgusting.
Why?
Like your hand, you feel dirt on your hands from
like,
just touching paper.
And like money collects dead skin cells like crazy too.
Oh yeah, because it's cloth.
Because it's cloth. It's not paper. Yeah.
And like, you know, people pull it out of their sweaty pockets. Women, for some reason, pull it out of their sweaty bras. Like, money is just really disgusting. And you can even see it too. Yeah. Like,
Burke's Coochie coin.
For sure, man.
You know, like my self-checkout machines too will just occasionally like screw up and start dispensing like incorrect numbers of coins. And I got to go through and reset all the coin counts. So I have to sit there and count all the coins, and like by the hand, like my hands are black.
See, like while I can understand that, and definitely, you know, I encourage everyone who works with money or touches it, you know, to wash their hands. Like for me, money's exciting. Like anytime I'm dealing with money, it's exciting and it's fun and I love it. So like I don't have the negative association with it in the sense that like if I have to wash my hands afterward, I'm like, oh well, I get to play with money, so like I'm happy.
I can't stand touching physical bills. It is
really.
I can't take it.
Oh, I love the feel of a dollar bill in my hand.
I do not like having money in my wallet. I don't like having anything on me. I don't either. And if you are one of the places that's like, we take cash only, you lost my business. Not that I'm probably going to be make or break, but guess what? Fuck you.
I rarely have it. Most of the time, my problem with those places, I just don't have it on me. And at that point, I'm not going to find an ATM for the purpose of specifically going to that store.
Yep, that's not happening.
Sure.
But yeah, and I mean, like when people like, you know, every time somebody gives me like a stack of ones at the store, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to think about where this came from. I just sit there and I'm like, you're a waitress. Like,
oh my God.
Wow. See,
it's a $600 TV and they're handing over 600 ones. You're like, nope. Nope. You just push it back and go take the TV. I'm out.
No, like I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but like I try to always carry like around at least like $50 in my wallet, and always like it's like, and I do that because of the chance of maybe you do walk into a place that is cash only or what have you, but like, or better yet for me, like when I spend physical cash, it's easier for me to spend physical cash than it is for me to swipe my credit card. So I feel less guilty about spending it for some reason.
See,
I have the opposite problem.
No, I'm right with you. It's easier. It's harder for me to spend money when I'm using physical. It's harder for me to spend it because if I want to check to see how much money I have to physically go into accounts and whatnot and trying to figure out how I want to say this. But like, that's the whole thing is it's easier for me just to throw down the bills and be like, oh, here you go, pay for it. When I do it with a card or with something else, it's harder for me to do it because I know it's tied to a numbers that I don't check daily, but I'm constantly on my accounts, like monitoring. I see everything that I do. Literally, I get a report every single day, and I get a report every time anybody spends any money on any account that I'm a part of. Like, I instantly get messages. I get an email and a text message for every single thing. So I see that, and I know, one, it's going out to my wife too. She's getting a copy of this, so she knows I spent something. So if I have cash, it's easier for me to be like, oh, I'll just go through and pay for something right here, and no one's going to know but me. So I like having the accountability on my side.
Yeah, so like I don't carry cash at all. Like I think I have a 20 in my wallet, and that's just there's two reasons for that. One, I drove cross country right in Thanksgiving. I had $2 in my wallet driving cross country, which out of Brian's probably like cringing at that, going, yeah,
seems dangerous.
I know, like, well, and of course when I got there, my mom goes, do you have any money? I was like, I opened my wallet and I showed her $2. She goes like, she hands me like $100 bill, and I'm like, oh, well, thank you. And so literally, but the only reason I even had $2, and right now the only reason I have $20 is because Weed's mainly a cash only business. So yeah, that's the only reason I have money, if I'm honest.
The only reason I ever have money on me is because Sarah will go through and at the office she'll pay for things. Like, oh, whatever, I'll go through and buy 15 pizzas for the whole office, and they'll give her cash. cash, or they'll use like some form of a cash app, some kind of like cash sharing app, Venmo, PayPal, whatever it is. And they'll give that to her. And whenever we get that in, I immediately take it from her because I know she will spend it right the fuck away on whatever just catches her fancy. She'll be like, oh, what? There's a cute kid in here selling chocolates. And she comes home with like 16 boxes worth of shit. I'm like, you need to stop this shit. I don't mind doing a little bit of it, but like she'll go through and just spend obnoxious amounts of money on these. Like, oh, but my employee's kid came in and they were selling coupon books. I'm like, we don't fucking use them. You buy them every single time. And then we lose where they're at and we don't use them. We spent $50 on a coupon book because, oh, we'll definitely use it this time. And we never do.
That means you either A, don't go out enough, or B, forget to use it, and then you're actually losing even more.
Yeah, we forget to use it. That's completely what it is we forget to use it. It's not like, no, we're not going to use it. We just forget to use it. Trust me, we're going out and spending money like hooligans at times. We just freaking forget that's there. I'm like, stop buying that. I don't care if their kid like can't go to space camp anymore. That's her problem right now.
There are two things that I don't care about in that aspect. One, Girl Scout cookies. Two, Boy Scout popcorn. Outside of that, like, don't bring home anything. Just
don't bring home those.
Yeah.
Do not bring home those either.
Oh.
Wait, what about whoa. Popcorn is pretty legit.
Nope. I don't like popcorn.
But see, what I would rather do is like, if you want to donate, don't buy the shit. Just fucking make a donation to the kid or something.
Actually more alright with
that I actually like. Besides my two exceptions, like I love those two things. But outside of that, I'm like, can I just donate like $10 to whatever the fuck you want? Because I don't want any of this shit.
Excuse me. I will go with you. If you're getting a food item back, go ahead and do that because we'll eventually probably eat it. If she wants to buy a whole thing of candy, I'd rather you do that. But like these like coupon books and shit like that, just you know what? Just be like, hey, here's $30 and just have fun.
But I mean, don't you think it's embarrassing for like the dad or the parent to have to come into work with like the paper and hand it to their like, hi, I know you know me from this office, but my daughter needs is going to try to win a bicycle kind of thing. Don't you think that's embarrassing for them?
Nah,
I don't think so. I think that they're I think they're
embarrassed.
I know you would be, but they're proud. The people that are bringing it to you are proud as hell. The people that don't do it are the ones that would be probably like us. They're like, I'm not fucking gonna shove this on other people because I know plenty of people that like. I know plenty of people that would do that. Like bosses would come around. And like everybody would sign up because like, oh, the boss is bringing their kid thing around. And I would be the sole asshole that goes, no, I'm good. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And everybody's like, holy fuck, Craig. Why are you turning it down? I'm like, because I don't want a goddamn coupon book. Like, well, you know, no, I don't want it. I don't care. And I'm not donating to his fucking fund either. He can donate his own kids' information in. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, those parents truly have no shame. I can vouch for that because for Girl Scouts, the whole point of Girl Scout cookies, like the whole point of that business is for girls to learn how to be kind of business owners. And girls are supposed to sell it themselves, but I can guarantee that 99% of them don't. It's always their parent. Like my mom was the one that was like, no, like you have to do it yourself. That's what the Girl Scouts say. I was never going to win any contest selling cookies like that, you know, especially, you know, when the other girls in the troop were taking, you know, their parents are taking it to their factories or their offices or whatever and selling them off. But yeah, those parents have no shame.
No. And you remember the girls who set up the cookie shop in front of the weed shop in Colorado a couple years ago made the news?
Well, those girls were geniuses.
Yeah, those girls were absolutely geniuses.
But I do agree. It'd be fucking embarrassing if like I had to go into work and be like, hey guys, can you guys sign this?
So on the other side of that, like what I thought was genius is what I've seen at least people doing up here, and actually my mom made my sister do it when she was in Girl Scouts, is take your daughter with you and make her go ask people. Like that, like and I'll admit like that's what got me to buy Girl Scout cookies, because normally I would just go, I don't need them. But if a little girl comes up to me and goes, cookies,
hey, mister.
And I'm like, gee, yeah, here's $100 bill. like
Bert,
yeah,
you have the same kryptonite that I do, which is like if a little girl asks for something, you can't help but just say yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, I mean, but that was, you know, yet again, instilling that. Yes, and some of it was bullshit, which I go, no, I'm not going to support. And I was like, can I just donate money to you instead? Like I will do that. Like, because if it's a coupon book, I'm not going to get it. I'm just not going to, even if you are a little girl. Like if there's food and cookies involved, yeah.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like a little boy comes up to me and says, "I'm trying to buy it." I'm like, "Whatever, kid, get a job." Little girl comes up to me and I'm like, "Whatever you need."
It has everything to do with what they have on them. The only thing
it's a cuteness factor.
The only thing I've bought since I've been down here is one kid was going door to door selling donuts. I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this!" I don't have to leave my house and I get donuts. I'm on this.
So as you can probably, well, maybe not, but if you could guess, congratulations, you get bonus point for the quiz already. We're talking about embarrassing moments today. So we're just kind of getting into that, specifically things that we've seen other people do, things that have done, maybe we've observed through work, friends, school, whatever it may be. But it's actually kind of going off of what we were just talking about, going door to door selling. I wanted to kind of open up with a story of something that happened when I was in high school, and specifically trying to do something similar to this, which is a booster thing in for the football team. So what happened is that we had to go door to door and sell these, like, I don't know if they were, Craig might be able to remember better than I can. They were some sort of either coupon books or something, right? But the point was they were part of like the booster thing for football. We were partnered up, and I don't know if it was like seniors and freshmen or seniors and sophomores or something like that, but I was partnered up with a younger kid, and because we were supposed to go in twos and taking different areas. We were going door to door, and I was doing all the talking, and so then finally I said to the kid, I'm going to make up his name because I don't remember what it was, but I'm going to make it up. We'll say his name was Billy. I go, "Billy, why don't you take the next house?" And he goes, "Okay." And he walks up to the door, and he was so nervous. I swear to God, this is what he did. He goes, "Wham, wham, wham," knocks on the door super hard. The person, like, it's an older lady, opens up, like, "Hello?" He literally takes it in two hands, shoves it like less than an inch from her face, and goes, "Coupon book." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Billy. Like, he just was so nervous, he fucking panicked. And I'm sitting there just going, and I'm like, "Oh God!" I'm like, what Billy's trying to say is we're from the football for good. Yeah, I'm sorry. And I tried to like really fix the situation, but yeah, he blew the sale pretty hard, and he didn't do any more talking the rest of the trip. So, yeah, that is a real story that happened.
I don't remember one bit of whatever coupon book thing it was because I didn't do it. Whatever it was, I did not participate.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I had to participate for whatever reason, so I don't remember. Maybe I drew a short straw that day. I don't remember.
More than likely, it was I probably went the white privilege route, or rich white boy privilege route, and told my parents just to donate the money that I was supposed to raise, so I didn't have to go out and do it. If I'm being honest, that would be very much a Craig High School move.
Oh God.
So my story too also involves somebody being way too loud. Being in the environment I am, working in retail, I overhear a lot of conversations.
Oh, I'm sure.
And you would think that people would kind of like have shame in a store, but they don't at all. Like, if they're on the phone, it's no holds barred. Like, they will say whatever's on their mind, It doesn't matter, or if they're with people. So I unfortunately did not get to witness this gem firsthand, but John did. And he told me about it immediately because he was laughing so hard. So he was in the back of the store, and he had a couple that was walking by, and they were arguing like the entire time they were walking up, and he couldn't hear most of it, but he could tell that they were clearly like not happy with each other. And then all of a sudden they start screaming at the top of their lungs. And the woman's like, "For all you know, I could be pregnant." Like, she's shouting this. Okay. And the guy's like freaking out, like yelling back, like, "No, there's no way in hell. Like, shut the fuck up. There's no way you're pregnant." Okay. And then he said that it finally got to the point where she was like, "Well, how do you know?" Like, and his response at the top of his lungs throughout the Target store, he says, "Because I didn't fucking nut inside you today."
Oh my God.
Now, I did hear complaints within, I don't know, probably 10-15 minutes of, some parents that were not pleased that this was occurring. But
oh my God.
As soon as I found out like what was being said, like I could not contain my laughter. I was like, I had to step off the floor because I was like, I can't take their complaints seriously because the story's so fucking funny to me.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
That actually happened close to the time where I had suggested this as a topic, is because that's what that story was on my mind.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, the usual sort of thing you would hear in a major store.
Yeah, and like the thing is like John works back in electronics and toys too, so it's not like it was in front of like, I don't even know, like the pharmacy or something where they're getting Plan B. Like they're in the toy section having this argument.
Boy.
The biggest one that I could think of, and it's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head, and I talked about this on the 11th Moon podcast ages and ages ago, was I was working. I used to sling beds, as I have said before, and I worked like I would go into Costco's and sell our beds out of a Costco. Like it'd be like a little road show that I'd be there for 10 days, sell beds, leave, go set up at the next one. So anybody that's been into a Sam's or a Costco and they've walked around, there's people like standing there trying to sell you shit. I did that. Also, if you're in a Costco and you have the option of buying something from there for something you need, buy it, because trust me, the company that's selling the shit is getting horribly degraded by selling, not degraded, but you're getting a huge discount on things because Costco just is like, no, we're better than you and you have to sell it for this price. So just if you're curious, just buy it there. Trust me, it's better. Anyway, I was working there and I was standing up and I was talking to a couple. They were walking by me, or no, they're not walking by me. They were sitting there and I'm telling them about the bed. Like, oh, here's the features. Here's what you're getting out of it. Blah, 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 blah. And I look over at one point, and it was one of those things where it's like, once you saw it, like, what the fuck do you do? This is not what you're expecting in your normal day, especially when you're in the middle of a Saturday, in the middle of the day Saturday at a Costco, busy as hell. I look over and there's a girl walking towards me. And she's easily a good like 50 feet away, 60 feet away, across an aisle and like in the middle of another aisle. And she's walking towards me. And as she's walking, and she happened to have ample bosom on her, and she was wearing a loose fitting shirt that had like this really it looked like she got out of like a rave the night before. Like it was a sparkly top, and it was very thin, not thin material, but like the straps were pretty thin. And you could have considered them straps, but they covered all the bits that you need to cover to go out in public and not be ostracized from society. And she was walking, and I only know this because of what happened. She definitely wasn't wearing pasties or anything else underneath that day, because the entire left side, or I guess her right side, it was my visual left, completely opened up. And so she's basically walking around half topless. And you're sitting there looking, and I'm talking to two people wanting to buy my bed. So it's not like I can be like, hey, quickly do something. But I'm also sitting there overlooking at it. And I'm like, oh God, later on, I'm thinking, oh God, if she noticed what was happening, she's probably looking at me like, oh, what a fucking leer. But I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And like, I completely blanked out on what I was talking with the two people about. I had to turn back and go, sorry, where were we at? Because I can't be like, do you see that chick's boob hanging out over there? Holy shit, what's going on? And it was just one of those things where
I totally would have. But that would have been me. I would have been like, oh my God, her boob just fell out.
Like, I didn't know what to do. I was so confused. Like, no one trains you for this situation. Like, hey, you're selling beds to people and you're talking to customers, but there's a case of nudity going on to your left in some form.
Yeah, and that's just an unfortunate situation too, because probably no matter what you do, you're fucked.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to keep talking to the person and like, okay, now I'm going to really focus now that I figured out, like, okay, Craig, snap out of it and look towards. So it was just, oh boy. And I never saw her tuck anything away afterwards. She just turned and went up the aisle. Like at some point she had to have noticed, but the only thing I thought of, I was like, man, she looked like she went out and partied the night before. She was I won't say younger girl, but she looked like she was like, late 20s, early 30s, and she was wearing massive heels and like, it was like a sparkly, your favorite color, Michelle, gold top. Like it looked like yeah, she was out last night is what the look was. I'm just like, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm out. I'm done. I'm gonna go back to talking to these customers.
Yeesh. Burke, so you got another cringeworthy story?
Not really. I have one that now that I'm thinking about it, when I'm older, is absolutely stupid. But as a kid, it mortified me.
Ooh, excellent.
Don't know why. So I was in the grocery store with my mom and my sister, and we were going, just up and down the aisles and whatnot. And I was probably being a little shit, like always. And I don't know if I was controlling the cart. No, it was my mom was controlling the cart, and she hit one of these, those little plastic shelves that they used to have that just stood up, or at least they did in the one by me. They stood up some plastic shelves, and they had pickle jars from the bottom shelf all the way up. It was like a pickle special. And it was almost in the middle of the aisle, and the cart hit it. And of course, it just shakes, and pickle jars go everywhere. I mean, falling from the top shelf to the middle shelf. I mean, all these shelves, just pickle jars going everywhere. None of them broke. None of them broke until the bottom pickle jar fell over on the bottom shelf, dropped 2 inches, and busted and went everywhere. And as a kid, I ran because I was embarrassed. I was like, I grabbed my sister's hand and ran, and was like, nope, staying away. Don't know what to do. Not dealing with this. It was my mom, and I was so embarrassed. For now I'm looking at it like, I could have just started picking stuff up and help it out, but I was so embarrassed that someone in my family made a mess. I was gone. I was just gone.
Holy shit, you actually brought something up. This isn't something I saw someone else do. I was at a JCPenney with my family, and I was a little kid, and I was like you, Burke, I was probably being a little shit, and I was running around in a circle, like running around this display. I had no clue what was on the display. I wasn't paying attention to that. And then I never hit it, but like my footsteps from running around jostled what was on this display. And all of a sudden I turned because I just hear glass shattering. And it was this entire table with think of like a pyramid. They were trying to do like a fun design, like stacking all of these things together, like all these glass vases and other stuff. It was all glass. And I'm talking to me, it was stacked like 3 times my height at the time, or at least it seemed that way. But my guess is, even as a full standing adult, like it was probably 6 feet tall worth of shit all in glass. And like I had rattled it enough, and it all fell, and like it hit the glass table, broke the glass table as well. So it was just glass everywhere, and like the wire frame of what the table used to be. And just like Burke, it started fucking happening. Poof, I was gone.
Oh my god.
Everybody saw me, and my dad grabbed me before I could really get away too far. But I remember just sitting there and crying for the longest time, because like I knew I had fucked up, and I was like, oh, this is my fault. I'm going to get in so much trouble. And actually nothing ever happened of it. They're like, oh no, it's okay. We know you didn't mean to. Because they said that like you didn't run into it or anything, but like you just hit the flaw, because I literally was like 4 years old, and I had just made enough like movement on the ground next to it. And they're like, somebody stacked it wrong. I remember them telling me that. I could have fucking done something for all I know, but they're like, no, somebody stacked it wrong. It shouldn't have been able to fall like that.
So there, talking about embarrassing moments, especially with family and stuff. I'll tell you this story, and this is one of those Will stories, Craig. I see you might have. I don't know. This is once again maybe one I've told on 11th Moon back in the day, but I don't know if I don't think I told it here. But so this is a story this is a real thing that happened when I was a kid. My mom was really big into taking us to these places for Christmas like events. Like basically like every town, especially in our surrounding area growing up, had a lot of like big Christmas events. And one year there's a little town in Michigan called Ortonville. And Ortonville decided to have a Christmas tree lighting ceremony and have like this big like outdoor Christmas event, right? So they said, oh, we're going to have a real life reindeer there. It's going to be just like this amazing event. Come on down. Everyone's whatever. My mom sees this in the paper and is like, yes, we are going to this as a family. So we all go there, and First of all, I want to make sure that everyone knows the quality of this event. First of all, the live reindeer, and I'm using this in air quotes. Apparently, they couldn't afford one, so they had a like llama with like fake antlers strapped to its head. I swear to God, that is a real thing that happened. And they're like, "Oh, it's a reindeer." And I'm like, "That ain't no fucking reindeer." So I was like, so that was pretty bad. But here's the thing that really got me, right? Evening hits. They gather everybody into the downtown to this one specific spot to light the Christmas tree, right? So there's a big group, everybody around this, like the entire like town essentially, right? And so we're all there. We're getting ready to do this. And they say, all right, everybody, let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. And the guy plugs it in. Nothing happens, right? Nothing happens, but it's dead silent. My dad goes, "Yay!" It was super, super loud. Everybody in the town turns to look at him like, "You asshole."
I love your dad.
And so I'm like, so as a kid, you're mortified. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. My dad thinks it's the funniest shit that's ever happened, And later on, of course, I have laughed about it since, but literally, though, they tried it 2 or 3 more times until they figured out what the problem was with the cables. But it literally took forever to get this damn thing lit. I was embarrassed for the town of Ortonville, Michigan, and I was embarrassed for my dad. Everybody. It was hilarious. But it wasn't as hilarious then as it is now.
God. It's funny now, but I can definitely see as a child how that might be mortifying.
So I don't know. I don't think I've told this story on this podcast, but this would probably be one of my most embarrassing stories as a child. And now, looking on it, it's totally something that I would do myself. So we were in a restaurant. I think it was a Mexican food restaurant. And I was with my grandfather and my parents and my grandmother. And it was a whole family event. And, we're out and it's someone's birthday. Okay. And so I'm going to pause right there on the story and let y'all know my grandfather, I think about 2 years ago, and he's 90 now, just stopped singing in the Houston Symphony and other choruses. So the guy has a set of lungs on him, and can sing, and really well and really loud. So these people the waiters and waitresses start singing happy birthday to this person. And it's not like it's at the table next to us. It's, probably 5 tables away. And it is awful. I'm talking out of tune, worse than Brian singing and me singing at the beginning of the podcast. It is just like you, the inside of you hurts. It's so bad. And here comes my grandfather just after, happy birthday to you. He goes, nope. He stands up and starts going, happy birthday to you.
Oh my God.
I'm belting it out in this beautiful tenor. And I crawl under the table. I'm gone. I'm just, nope. And, but what happened? The rest of the restaurant starts singing along, and it just covers up the absolute shit. It was amazing, thinking about it. And it's totally something I would do, to embarrass someone else now. And it's something I have done to embarrass my sister. And I absolutely love it now. But as a kid, I was mortified beyond belief. And my grandfather still brings it up to this day, going, remember that time? I go, yeah, you want to do it? Let's sing. I'll sing with you this time. We'll go. Let's go duet. I'll do it.
Oh man, no, and you said the Mexican thing, and it now reminded me of another one. See, this is the problem: is that we get on these things, and suddenly it's like, oh man, remember this shit show? Yeah. So this is a true story. I was working, and for those of you don't remember, for a lot of years I have worked as a corporate trainer, meaning that I basically spend my time teaching adults things. But I was working with a hospital, and I was training the trainers. So, which means that I'm teaching the people who are eventually going to teach the nurses and doctors, right? There was one guy in this group that was awful. That I'll just put it lightly. He was awful. He was an awful person. Awful. He was a terrible trainer. Everything about him was awful. but it wasn't like he made up for it with a sparkling personality or any other thing. But this particular day was worse. Just after lunch, he had went to a Mexican food joint. And we were all gathered together, and I was in front of the group of them. There was probably about, I don't know, say 30 people in the room. And I'm up there, I'm doing my thing, like, oh yeah, and what you need to do is work on this, and this is this in the system. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I smell like shit. Like so.
I love Craig's little.
No, but he because he knows this is what's this. I go. It smells like shit. Like someone actually took a dump in the room somewhere. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, but I can't react because like I'm up there teaching. And when you're doing that, you have to remain, professional about it.
Yeah.
But I start looking out over the group and I see everyone else starting to react. And upon quick glance, everyone has this look of like sour on their face, and then like another wave of it hits you, and you're just like, ah, and it's just another wave, and you're scanning the group. Sure as hell, there's him in the middle, dead centered, looking right at me as if nothing is wrong, like arms crossed, over his chest, and he's like, yeah, okay, like literally
the only one without the sour look.
And then I'm like doing my thing, and I get quiet for like a second, and I hear. Like he let a squeaker out, and it was sure as hell him. Everyone knew it, and no one was like, no one could like just say like, dude, stop shitting yourself in the middle of the room. But like it was awful. It was the worst experience ever. Like having to maintain and not say something about it. It was awful. It was so awful. It's literally when I picture, I know this is kind of a little side thing, but you know how we mentioned on the podcast before the Caverns and Creatures book series. Mm-hmm. He is what I picture when I think of Mordred, is that guy. Literally like so like
give him a purple cape.
I did. I literally just in my head put a purple cape and a ponytail on him, and I said that is how I picture Mordred. So it's just, yeah, he's I have so many stories about that one guy. Terrible.
So my other story is also a case of secondhand embarrassment, where I was not the catalyst, but I was pretty embarrassed. And this was at a restaurant. I feel like I've told this story before, but I can't remember, so I'm going to do it anyway. But we were at a restaurant with my family. I think we were visiting like Cedar Point or something. And we just stopped by this random restaurant, and my littler sister, Kristen, her entire life, she's just been one of those messy eaters. Like, she just can't help it. Like, she'll be eating ice cream and it's in her hair, and we're like, how the hell, is it in your hair and eyebrows? Like, she's just one of those people.
That shit happens. I am one of those people where I will sit there like, okay. Everything's consistently good. Nothing's going to fall off. And as soon as I go to eat it, it's like, doesn't matter. Sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm one of those people too. Like no matter what I do, stuff will fall off my spoon and fork. Like, that's absolutely. But I mean, I'm talking, she has ice cream down here and she's got ice cream in her hair up here. Like,
that's just impressive.
So we would always give her a hard time about that. So in public, she always tries to be like extra careful. Because, she gets embarrassed because we all razz on her for it. So we're at this place and they do like the old fashioned shakes where they make it in the thing and they bring you out that metal container that has the excess shake in it from when they made it. And I forget how old she was, like maybe 9 or 10. And I guess she just thought that was just like another cup to use. So she starts trying to drink out of it and the shake isn't coming out. So she decides to do like the ketchup bottle thing.
No.
Smash the bottom of it. And the entire freaking shake just goes literally everywhere. Like, now I think it's hilarious. But at the time I was just like, because I was like 15. I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Like, that this is happening to my family in this freaking restaurant. There's probably only like 5 other people in the restaurant. It wasn't even crowded, but I was just like, I was mortified, but now I think it's the funniest fucking thing ever. We still tease her about it too, because she still has, she's still like this even as a grown-ass adult. Like, she just can't help it. But I just thought that was really funny. But like, anytime we go anywhere that has those old-fashioned shakes, she's like, nope, I don't want one.
She's missing out because that stuff's amazing. Oh my God. Wow.
So when we're kind of going over this, we're having the secondhand embarrassment on some of these. I want to ask a question about potential, just a real quick thing here. What does everybody think about like we'll say cringe humor in movies? The thing where they're setting up the character to do something extremely embarrassing to where just how does everybody react to those? So there's 2 different forms of it. So we'll go with like the standard. It's a scripted movie or show that you're watching and the character is well scripted. We're not going to say it was like shoehorned. Let's just say any of the times that you had it where you're like, oh my God, you realize that's embarrassing. Is that something that you're laughing at, or are you like in your seat? You are actively cringing away from what's going on. This is scripted. Let's go scripted first.
Yeah, for the most part, when it's scripted and like let's say it's not a show like The Office or something like that, or if it's like a regular sitcom and it's just something like super awkward, I will cringe and go, oh my God, no, oh that's so awkward. Granted, I've gotten over that a little bit as I've aged, and I'm kind of like, dumbass. But like, I still have those cringe-worthy moments, and I still get the butterflies a little bit. I'm like, I feel so bad for them. But it used to be one of those physical reactions where I would almost like leave the room sometimes. Like if it was a character I really cared about or something like that, I'll be like, oh no, please no. Yeah, I couldn't stand it. But now that I, where I am now, I guess I don't really care. But I'm still not going to watch one of those like shows like Parks and Rec or something like that, because that for me that's a lot of that show, and I'm like, it's too much for me to a point.
Well, like it's. For me, let's jump in on that. If it's scripted, it doesn't really bother me. And truthfully, I know this is going to sound odd, but it's such a trope when you're watching something like an anime, for example, like that is such a trope that literally like that. If something cringy / like awkward could happen, it will. So then it got me kind of numb to it all. Like where you're just like, okay, they're going to trip up, they're going to land on a girl, and then the other girl's going to walk in and see it and think something else. Okay. And it's like, it's not like a big, like, oh my God, whatever. It's not cringy at all anymore. So I if it's scripted, I basically have no feeling toward it whatsoever anymore.
I am kind of on the in-between. It's very character and show specific to me. So going off what Burke said, like something like Parks and Rec, I think that show is hilarious because I know the whole show is made to do that. Yeah. But if it's a show like, I don't know, let's just throw like How I Met Your Mother. Okay. Like Ted happens to get into a lot of like stupid ass situations, and the whole build up time I'm like cringing. Like that's when I'm cringing, is like when I'm like, oh, when I know it's coming, but then when it happens, like I'm laughing my ass off.
I think I'm more for the scripted one. I'm more on the Brian side. When I was maybe younger, maybe I would be a little bit more like, oh no. But now you sit there, and as soon as you see some form of contradiction forming in the story, you're like, oh, guess what's going to happen on this one? It kind of comes into that. What Brian was saying was the trope portion of it. Okay, so how about when somebody's doing something live on television and they're not meaning to be cringy? How about that one?
I'm just going to throw this out there. I literally crawled into my couch once. Like, I'm not joking, into my couch during a live presentation, which was the comedy roast of somebody, I forget. Like, but it was like literally a comedy roast, and one of the guys from the Jersey Shore had gotten up to do like his like little bit with it, and was so bad and so awful and not funny whatsoever, and was so cringy that I literally, I'm not joking, crawled into my couch and underneath the cushions as a grown adult because it was so cringy.
I can verify this because we watched that together, and that's exactly why I brought this up.
Yeah.
Brian went and hid. Granted, it would have been a lot different had I liked the person. It was The Situation from the Jersey Shore. The guy's name is The Situation. Or I don't really know what his real name is. So I think, was it Mike The Situation or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know Mike. Where I'm it is Mike because the Key of Awesome said, "Hey, it's Mike." And then it said they call me The Situation. Remember that as part of the Key of Awesome.
I have no idea where I pulled that from because I never watched a single episode, but I somehow know that because pop culture. And it was the roast of Donald Trump was what the roast was. And I was losing my mind laughing so hard because I actively did not like that guy because I was right during the whole Jersey Shore where a ton of people were watching it or it was hyped up. And so he was on that shit. And him bombing was like one of my highlights of the year where I was like, oh, look, you're outside of your little bubble of Gym Tan and Laundry or whatever it is, GTL. You left that bubble and you failed horribly. And I don't like you as a person, even though I've never met you. And this is horribly judgmental on my side, but fuck you, kid.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved every second and cracked up. If it was somebody that I knew and I liked and I didn't want them to go through something, I would have been in that couch with Brian and not in a sexy way. It would have been just hiding. Nope, not doing this.
I literally, it didn't matter if didn't matter. I never seen an episode or didn't know the guy or didn't care for him or whatever. I literally, it was so cringy that I physically hid. Like, that's not a joke. I actually climbed into the couch.
And those kinds of situations, the live unscripted ones, I either have to shut off the TV or walk away because I can't deal with it.
Yeah. What about you, Burke?
I honestly I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head because I don't watch too much unscripted shit. But like, I don't know. I think going to Craig, like if I have some sort of predisposition on a character or a person, that's probably when, if I'm invested, I would feel cringeworthy. If I didn't like the person, I would be laughing my ass off. Probably very similar.
I'm with you.
So who's got the quiz tonight?
I did the quiz tonight.
Right.
Tis I.
No, I am Spartacus.
No, I am Spartacus.
Yeah, I had fun with this quiz. So what I did for this one, because it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to go about it, but then I was like, this is the internet. There are 17,000 sites and articles and stuff where I can find people's embarrassing stories. So that's what I did.
Oh, no.
I just went through and found like people's embarrassing stories that they've posted on various websites or, places like BuzzFeed or something that have found them and put them all in a compilation list. So I found a bunch of them and I just blanked out specific words in them. And I want you guys to try to complete the embarrassing story.
Oh my God.
Which I think will be hilarious.
Prepare for 0 points of us guessing it right and only 0.5
Yeah, but I think this will be hilarious.
Just all 0.5 comedy points. That's all we're getting.
There's a couple that you might get. Some of them are kind of relatively like infamous stories.
Okay.
And I think some are semi-obvious where you might not get the exact word, but you'll be pretty close. I'm going to be pretty lenient on ballpark, so we just need the order for today.
All right. Order is going to be, let's see here. It's going to be Brian, Brian, Burt, Craig.
All right. So you guys ready for the first one?
Mm-hmm.
And after I read them, I'll just paste them in the chat so that if you guys need to reread them, then you can without me having to repeat it. All right. So number 1, I accidentally texted my blank, "I love you, babe," instead of my boyfriend.
I'm going to say my ex.
Ooh. I'm going to say my father.
I'm going to say the one that I have done before, my boss.
Okay. I'm going to give Craig half a point. So the answer is choir teacher, which I guess for a student would be pretty close to. But this story was hilarious to me because it got even worse because the person didn't realize it. And so when their choir teacher didn't answer, they kept going on and on the whole weekend. It was on a weekend. And they were like, are you mad at me? Like, is something going on? Like, just going on and on and on. And it took them until Monday to realize that they'd been texting their choir teacher the entire time.
Wait. So hold on. That that assumes that the boyfriend's not texting her or him at that point.
All weekend either.
Right.
All weekend either.
Right.
Like that has to be, that's a perfect storm. And I mean, if you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend and you're not texting all weekend, like, are you really boyfriend, girlfriend?
OMG.
Yeah, especially
Craig,
at age, what, 16, 17 to be like.
Yeah, you're inquire. Like, no, you guys are talking all the time.
Also, just for the record, I did once hang up with the boss when I was on the phone with him, say, go, all right, talk to you later. I love you. Goodbye. That is a real thing I did once. And I was like, shit, because I was just,
I've done it twice where I texted my boss, I love you, or something sentimental that I'm trying to text to Sarah that I one of them, this wasn't sentimental. I did it today. I texted my wife, hey, I'm going to buy new trash cans, like trash bins for the back of our house for them, like the people to come by and pick it up because they're getting old and they've cracked and whatnot. My boss sends back, he goes, okay, thanks for the info with the question mark. I was like, shit. I was like, sorry, I texted the wrong person, but I texted I love you to my boss beforehand where I was selling beds, and he just sits there and he just responds LOL. I was like, fuck. And that was my first weekend working for him too. It was bad.
Classic.
That's funny. All right. So number 2 here. Towards the end of the night, I found myself making out with blank in front of my entire class.
Stuffed animal.
My hand.
Justin Bieber poster.
Okay, so no points here because no one was really that close. So the answer is a tree. So was an end of school party.
Well, he got
the person says
the tree
that
hard.
they drank a little too much vodka
wood, didn't he?
and started making out with the tree.
Sorry.
Nice.
Sorry.
What was that drink? Just drank too much vodka?
Just drank too much vodka and
so you're saying they were really barking up the wrong tree?
Any more tree puns before we go on?
The tree said, leave me alone.
Hey, its bark is worse than its bite. Terrible.
I hate you guys.
Craig, you can join us.
No, it's okay. I'm hoping we're done with this bit.
Oh, no. These roots go pretty deep.
We're not. Oh, my God.
Okay, number 3. We're moving on. Number 3. I thought it would be sexy to put blank on his junk. It got everywhere, even in my hair. It was bad.
Silly putty.
I thought this quiz would be hilarious, even if no points were gotten.
I'm gonna go with honey.
My first thought is peanut butter, but like, how can I not do silly putty at this point? But I'll say peanut butter.
All right, I'm gonna give Craig and Burke half a point each.
Oh wait, I don't get nothing. Damn.
No, your answer was hilarious, but they were actually close because it was a food item.
Oh.
So for some reason, this girl thought Nutella, however you pronounce it, would be the sexy food of the night, and she was incredibly wrong.
Where did she put the Nutella?
Oh, terrible.
That wasn't a pun. That was more of observational words.
Oh man.
All right. Number 4. I was in a long distance relationship, so I decided to send my girlfriend some naked pictures and accidentally sent them to my blank.
I gotta say, like, pastor, priest, some sort of religious figure.
I'm gonna go with my dad.
I'm gonna go with my first one, which was grandmother, but I really wanted to say Jeb Bush.
Oh man, Jeb Bush would be hilarious. But the actual answer here was, we were talking about this, boss.
Damn it!
Person sent these to
I was
their
thinking
boss.
about that, but I was like, nah, I already used that one. I can't do it again.
So you're telling me that they gave their boss a raise?
Potentially.
Nailed it.
I mean, it could have also had, besides just being super awkward, this was also from a girl, so she could have accidentally also been outing herself at the time. Like, if her boss did not know she was a lesbian, they know now. Because she was trying to text her girlfriend, so.
Oh, okay.
All right. This next one is a 2-part answer. Yes. It's a 2-part answer. So one time when I was drunk, I offered to trade my blank for blank.
Was this? Do we know if this is a boy or a girl sending this text?
I think this is a girl based on the spelling, but it's a unisex name.
Shoot. Okay, that doesn't help me then. I offered to trade my car for a beer.
I offered to trade my phone for a kiss.
I'm going to go with virginity for Pokemon cards.
All right, so I'm going to give Brian half a point here because he at least named something that you can consume. So this person was trying to trade their best friend for Taco Bell.
They're trying to trade a person for Taco Bell?
Yes. Trying to, sell their best friend, trade their best friend, whatever. She said trade, but I don't know how that would work. But essentially trying to pay for Taco Bell with her best friend.
Well, I mean, okay.
All right. Number 6. Siri loudly announced it was calling my one-night stand, who was saved as blank in my phone.
Bad bitch.
Fuck buddy.
I'm gonna go with Jeb Bush.
It's gonna be no points here.
What?
So the person saved them as quite the opposite of what Burke said. They named them Don't Fuck. So, yeah, Siri shouted that they were getting a call from Don't Fuck in, I'm assuming, the middle of some crowded room or something. I think this was a horror story from a school.
Nice.
Yeah. So, probably a terrible thing to save people as in your phone.
Well, I need to change you guys' names then in my phone.
All right, number 7. On a trip, I saw some baby horses. I could not think of the word foal, so I finally shouted blank and pointed. My wife understood.
So on a trip, they saw baby horses, and they couldn't think of the word foal, so they said fowl.
Unicorn.
I'm gonna go non-PC and say they yelled midget horse.
I'll give Craig half a point.
Ow.
So this guy couldn't remember it, and he shouted horse kittens.
Horse kittens. Wow.
I guess kittens were the first baby animal he thought of, so he shouted horse kittens, but
Horse
it's okay because his wife understood.
Wow. That's a whole other, wow.
Number 8. When I was 7, I had a crush on a girl in my class, and I didn't know how to deal with it, so I wrote her a letter that just said blank.
Ooh, a letter that just said love with a question mark at the end.
Hi.
If they were a little older, I was gonna say nachos with a question mark, but let's see, 7-year-old. I'm gonna say it just said candy with a question mark.
Okay, so this person was so uncomfortable with their feelings and didn't know how to deal with them, they wrote, "Get out of my school."
What?
Because, they didn't know how to deal with their feelings for this person, and it was just becoming so uncomfortable for them to go to school because they didn't know how to process this that they just wrote, "Get out of my school."
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, just before you move on, I'm gonna let you guys talk about writing stories and embarrassing moments. This is a true thing that happened to me when I was in elementary school. Some kid gave me a note once that said, I'm sorry, he didn't tell you to give me a note. He told me once when we were in between classes. He goes, "I'm gonna suicide you." And I was like,
Wow.
And then I go, "You're gonna what?" He goes, "I'm gonna suicide you." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know what that means." So I went home and asked my mom, I go, "What is a suicide? I'm gonna get suicided tomorrow." And she's like, "None of that is right." So that is a real story of something that happened.
Oh, that's really funny.
Suicide you. Never forgot
Kids are
that.
great.
Kids are so stupid.
So this one, I assume is a part 2 just based on the beginning words, but I don't think part 1 matters for it. So this one was new developments. Apparently my mom is not even home, and the person that I hear puttering around the house is the carpet cleaning service. I've been yelling blank at them for 20 minutes.
Mom, meatloaf! That's my answer, aka Winston already.
I'm going to go with dinner!
I'm going to go with I need toilet paper.
All right, I'm going to give Brian and Burke here a point because they hit the essential right on the head. So this person was shouting that they wanted a grilled cheese made.
Oh my God.
And did not realize that it was not their mom.
That's fantastic.
All right. Number 10. Today, I told my husband that after 15 years of marriage, I wanted a divorce. His first question was whether or not he could still blank.
Whether or not he could still... I'm going to go with the obvious one, or either the obvious, whatever, is he still have sex with her.
I'm going to go with more specific and feel her boobs.
He could still keep the couch.
All right. So this will be 0. What this man wanted to do was apparently sometime in the nearest future, her parents were paying for like a family cruise, and he just wanted to know if he was still welcome to go on the cruise. That was his response to the divorce.
Hey, divorces are a big deal, but vacations are forever.
All right. Number 11. Today, I began my job volunteering at an orphanage in Beijing, China, working with 7-year-olds who just started learning English. We were playing a game where if you got caught, you had to sing a song. I got caught, so I chose the ABCs. They all knew the song perfectly. I missed blank letters. So I'm looking for a number here.
Is that number?
Yeah.
Like just a number of actual letters this person missed in singing the ABCs?
Yes.
Oh my
this
God.
English-speaking person who is with orphans learning English.
I'm going to guess 4, but I hope that the answer was 0, but I want to say 4.
7.
I was going to go 3. 3.
All right, Craig's going to get the point here. He hit it right on the head. This person somehow forgot 3 letters of the alphabet.
Do we know which letters? I'm very interested. Oh.
I tried to find out. Honestly, I did, but I could not find it.
Probably went like, I was thinking like A, B, D. Like I just kept skipping.
No,
C,
my guess is the elemental P. Something in there got messed up. I'm going with the QRS. One of those got screwed up. And because the beginning's
something
A, B,
that's
C,
always
D,
like bundled together.
E, F, G,
X, Y, Z. Like skip the
H
X,
is the other
Y,
one.
Z.
I'm going with H,
Yeah.
N, and Q. H, M, and Q. How many points did I get?
1 point. Go.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't
Give me
find
3
the
points.
answer.
I got it. Nailed it. 3 points.
He's arguing. Take away points.
No, that only applies to you.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Nailed it.
All right, number 12. Today, my boyfriend and I celebrated our first apartment together by having blood-curdling, hot, screaming lovemaking session. Once we were done, we lay happily in each other's arms, and then we heard the neighbor say, no louder than a whisper, blank.
Nice.
Hot damn.
I'll have what she's having.
So, give yourselves all half a point because those are all funny answers. No, this neighbor was like, they're done just in time for the news.
Wow.
That's what this neighbor was concerned with.
Wow.
Just in time for the news.
I was just like, in my head, I was just picturing like this older couple that's like, oh God, now we can hear the news. Great.
Yeah, finally, now I can see what the weather's happening.
And truthfully, it's probably you said they just moved in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your first apartment. So the people there probably already knew that this bedroom was. You can hear right through these walls, so they know what they're in for.
All right. Today at work, my buddy pulled up in his car. I handed him $40 and he handed me a bag. It must have looked like a drug deal, but he was actually just smuggling in blank for me.
Laundry? Like new pants because he shit himself at work. So this is new pants. It says laundry.
I'm gonna go with Twizzlers.
Oh shit, that's a lot of Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Because that was my first thought was food, but I was like, man, that's fucking $40 worth of food. That's tough. If
Also,
it's just
Red Vines
for
are
him.
better than Twizzlers. Everybody knows that.
You know what? I'm gonna go with burritos.
All right, this will be 0. This person was getting smuggled in. I don't know why they had to smuggle it because I feel like this isn't illegal, but it was a new Pokemon game. They didn't want to wait for the English one, so they set up this what appeared to be a very shady thing outside of their work.
Important.
All right. And the last one. This one does have a bonus question on it. So this is number 14, and then the bonus is 15. Today at dinner with my boyfriend and my family, my mother had too much to drink and asked my boyfriend how I was in bed with the purpose of embarrassing me. What was his response?
Bloody brilliant. He was British in my head, which is the British way of saying amazing.
Meh.
I'm gonna go with not as good as you.
Oh, I'm gonna give Craig half a point because he's on the right track. So this guy said not as good as her sister. Okay. So then the story progresses because now everyone's like, the fuck? Like, because he was serious. Like that was not a joking response. He was serious. So he then had to his girlfriend, he tried to defend himself. What was his defense?
Oh, so he actually did have sex with her
No,
sister?
he actually slept with the sister.
Oh.
But he's trying to justify it. So what was his defense?
Justifying
that.
sleeping or justifying his answer?
Justifying sleeping with her.
Okay.
She had bigger boobs.
She sucked my dick.
Could be that.
It was before I knew you were interested in me.
Nope. His answer was, it just happened once.
Well,
One time.
then why are we even talking about this guy?
It was just a random thing. Like, that's basically what his response was to this.
Oh my God.
Now, very quickly spiraling out of control situation.
Not for him. He seemed to. He thought he was very much so in control. Like, I can't believe this guy.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Wow. Okay. So that's a wrap for the quiz.
That's it.
All right. So
dead last.
I knew this quiz would get a lot of laughs, not a lot of points.
yeah. So Brian and
Dead last.
myself tied for dead last
Yeah.
with a total of 1.5 points.
Is that 2 in a row for Craig?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because we made Brian
actually-
give up points last week with the
It's
extra
actually
things.
3 in a row.
3 in a row, hot streak, yeah.
Craig had a
All
total
right.
of 3.5 points. So
We're
Yeah,
doing another
3.5 out
Pokemon
of
quiz
15.
next week, guys, just so you know. Deep throw.
Now in the 6th generation, this Pokemon is found in this specific square.
When Beautifly was, what was the first move that? No, all right, but no. The point is it's awesome that you're on a hot streak, though. That's impressive. I'd say I don't think we've had too many hot streaks in the course of this show.
I think
so.
we've had 0 hot streaks.
I think Brian started off hot, and then we kind of just
Did I?
all. Yeah, you won like the first 4 of them. It felt like.
all right, hold on.
Oh God.
I scrolled back over a bunch of rows. Let's see here. The first recording I have that I saved, it was me, Brian, Mike, Burke, Brian, Michelle. Well, I gotta scroll over.
Wow, look at this. See, let's see. I thought this guy was just for show.
Burke, Craig, Craig, Michelle, Brian, Craig. Dear Lord, Brian with this one by a landslide. Jesus Christ.
Which one was that one?
It was I don't know. I must have mislabeled it. It was a 40. It was one of our long ones where all 4 of us were asking. It was 40 questions. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
You got 42 points.
God damn.
Yeah.
Don't know which one that one was.
Had to have
but
been one of the theme ones.
Yeah, it was a theme one.
yeah.
Michelle, Craig.
Do you have just totals like for numbers?
Yeah. I have Michelle with 11. This looks like Craig with 11. Craig and Burke with 9.5. Craig with 14.
No, I'm sorry. I meant like total number of wins and losses.
No, I can work on that. I can work on that. That's something I can totally do.
I'm just curious for future's sake, but
I can.
But still, like,
I can create a
because
formula.
I want to know who's going to get, who's going to be embarrassed, when we finally reveal that.
Oh, me. I don't win much.
Oh man, I don't know. Michelle, when you were doing this quiz, was there anything in there that just struck you especially as like the most like cringy of all of them?
That last one was up there.
You think so?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
because it started off bad and then it just got worse and worse and worse.
During a family dinner, it's like that's when you revealed it. Was during one
family
of their
dinner. Mother had too much to drink. Started to embarrass daughter. Boyfriend comes out with, "Oh, well, not as great as your sister," and then it's like, "Well, it was just one time." Like,
that's pretty bad. Yeah.
Bet you that guy's sex life with that woman, with that girlfriend, got dunked on.